Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. If you're new here, my name is Michelle Adamas, and I'm the owner of Vintage Revival Design Co., which is based in Northern Virginia, kind of in the DC metro area. And welcome, welcome, welcome. If you pop on here, please say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I've got a fun project for you today. It was great. I've been working on it so far. And so I'm going to bring up the project and we are just going to get started. Okay, so you're going to notice that I've already done my background here, and this will be in the full video tutorial. I'll show you how I created this background. I wish you could feel it. There is so much texture on here. But we're going to go ahead and take this board. This is a panel board, just a wood panel board, and it is a 16 by 12 that I'm working on. And we're going to be using the Roycycled stencil. Hello, Sheila. Welcome. We're going to be using the Roycycled bushel stencil. I love, love, love it. We're going to be using salt wash and paint, and we're going to be using watercolor. And so to me, mixed media is when you're just using multiple things. It isn't all one medium. It isn't all watercolor. It isn't all collage. It isn't just all one thing. It's truly when you're mixing all of those things. And Sheila, thank you so much. I'm welcome. I see that you're new and from Tennessee. I so appreciate your being here. Thank you so much. So what I've done is I went ahead and I mixed some salt wash, and I mixed it with Wise Owl Chalk Synthesis paint in earth, and we're going to do our basket. And so salt wash is a texture medium that you add to paint. It will not change the color of your paint, and it just allows you to do multicolored finishes and add texture. And it's also great for raised stenciling, which is what I want to do here. And so to apply this, I am going to be using a little squeegee. This is a paint blade from IOD. You can use a putty knife, a palette knife, just some kind of an old credit card, gift card, whatever you've got. But I happen to like this, and I am not going to be using the entire stencil. This bit down here kind of serves as a table look that I'm going for. And so I am just going to use this bottom portion of the basket. And if I get a little bit in my stencil, I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to dip this into my medium, and I'm going to hold this down. I forgot to get out my Pixie spray to keep the stencil flat, but you can see that I'm just squeegeeing it in here like this, and this is going to give it a little bit of a raised texture, and it's a great way to be able to do a raised stencil with a little bit of salt wash. It's just a 1:1 ratio usually, but you want it to be a little thicker for this application. Okay. And I'm just going in, I'm using this bottom portion of the bushel basket. You don't have to use the entire stencil. You can use whatever works for your project. And I just want to make sure that I get in this area. It's going to outline, it's going to cover up the other areas that I've already painted or have something on. I'm going to come in here. I'll be able to fix that. You'll see we're going to end up kind of working with this and adding some florals to this basket. I had the best time today just creating and getting ready for this live. Okay, so now when I lift that up, I do want to go ahead and cover up my salt wash. I'll be able to use it a little bit later if I need to, or if I missed a spot and need to cover it up. So I'll cover that up with some plastic wrap. And then I'm going to gently lift my stencil. And you can see now where we have the raised edge here. But now we're going to want to paint this in. And I'm just going to set that aside. And so I'm again going to go ahead and take this paint. This again is the earth. by Wise Owl. And I'm just going to take just an artist brush, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in here. We're going to give this another color and even some more texture. I think what I love about this project so much is mostly just it is filled with yummy texture. And I just love that. So I'm over the parts that I've done the salt wash, it's still wet. So I'm trying to be a little careful to not go over those and smush them down because I want them to stay raised. But we're getting the base of our basket here painted in, and it's covering up what's behind it, just like this. Okay. And again, if you're here, I would so appreciate it if you would say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, whether or not you're new or you've been here before. For those of you that follow me, thank you for your patience and your grace and your encouragement over the last few days while I was doing the not so fun parts of, a creative business. Okay, so we're going to, now that is done, I'm going to put this in. I've got some water over here, and we're going to go ahead and dry this up real quick. This will be a little bit of a longer video, so if you're watching on replay, just remember that little button that you can push, the like 10 seconds, that'll fast forward you, and then the entire project will be uploaded as a full video, and you'll be able to see how I created the background and the final finishes that we do on this. So I'm just going to dry this up real quick. And even though you can see the paper a little bit right here, it's fine because it is, we're going to be adding another color, but you can see how this is beginning to serve as like a little table that it's sitting on. Feel this, make sure that it's dry for this. And I think it's dry enough for the next step. So the next step that I want to do is we're going to be laying another color on this. And so what I'm going to be doing is I want to give a little bit of a cracked kind of finish on it. And so what I'm using is a product called Cracked Patina, and this is by Amy Howard at Home. You can find this on my website, as well as the Wise Owl Chalk Synthesis Paints and the Roycycle Papers. But I'm going to dip just a seawool sponge in this, and I'm going to just kind of dab this over my basket. This project is all about texture. And so I just want to I just want to keep with that theme. I've had so much fun with it, and why not, right? And this is you don't have to use a panel board. You don't have to use a canvas. You could practice a project like this on a piece of cardboard, whatever you have. It's just fun to get out there and try new techniques. And so let me go ahead and dry this enough that I can apply some paint over it. You want it to be tacky, a little bit tacky or dry when you use this. It's very, very sticky. I'd love to know if you're watching from Facebook or YouTube today. That would be great. Thank you. Excuse me. This is still a little wet in here. It was a little heavier there. This is the not so fun part, but necessary. It's good enough. Okay, Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a second color of Wise Owl Chalk Synthesis paint, and this happens to be, I believe it's Joshua Tree. This is one of the recent releases that came out, and it's this beautiful green, and I thought we could just make it a green basket to kind of go along with our florals, and I'll be aging it further, but for now we're going to just do this. I'm going to grab a brush. And actually, I could just use my sponge. Let me see which part has the, so I'm just going to take it and I'm going to sponge it in here first. I don't want to keep going over the same parts too much. I don't want to mess with my my crackle medium. I'm just going to kind of sponge this in here. We're going to give it kind of an aged green effect. And now I'll go ahead and take my brush and just kind of fill in a little bit. Just kind of, and then this is going to start to crack that paint. And we'll be able to age this basket even further so it's not so bright. Might look kind of mossy. Oh my goodness, you're from Germany. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for joining. Okay, this top of the basket is going to get covered, and then I'm going to let this dry and we're going to age it even a little further. But I definitely want kind of an aged, worn basket. And so again, we're getting out the craft dryer and just drying this up really well before we move to our next step. Dries pretty quickly with this little dryer. Okay. And so I'm going to let that set up, and then I'll be finishing this a little bit differently. But the next step is we want to add our florals. And I thought about how was I going to do that? Because there's so much texture. I mean, really, I do. I wish you could feel it. It just has so much texture in it. And so I thought about what could I do, because I want to watercolor the flowers. And so what I did was I used the Peonies stamp set by Iron Orchid Designs, and I stamped several of each of those images. I've got leaves and I have florals and I have all of that here. I did several of each image, mostly in the oh, what am I trying to say? I mostly did in odd numbers, so 3 to 5 of each image. And oh, thank you so much, Dorothea. I appreciate that. So I stamped several images, so I have lots and lots of elements. And so then the next thing that, so you can see, I've got like the leaves, and I've got several styles of leaves. I have little buds, and I did a lot more than I'm going to need for this, but I thought that I would just have more than I needed, and I'll save these for the, I'll just put it in with my stamp set, and then that way they're here for another project. But for me, I thought since it's already on watercolor paper that I would be good to go. I hope that's going to work. So let's give it a shot. So I like to start when I'm doing a floral arrangement. I like to start with my bigger elements first, just like that. And then I kind of want to lay it out, and I like to do odd numbers. That's just me. I like that best. And I kind of want to, I don't want to go all the way out to my edge, but I kind of want to get an idea what I want. So we're starting to make our floral arrangement, and I may want to come up a little bit more or down a little bit more. And then we can kind of, now that I think that's what I want to do. But I'm going to need to fill in, right? Because we've got definitely some areas that need something, right? So I could add this leaf here, and then I could add, what else have I got? I had some other little, some smaller ones. Let me see, what did I do with those? They're right here. Okay. So here are some, and I went ahead, the stamp is actually like this with the stem, but I think my stems are going to be hidden anyway. So I thought maybe I could do something like that, maybe. I don't know. We're just going to play with it and see. Okay. And then believe me, I thought a long, hard time about, well, how the heck am I going to get these adhered? And I think I've got that figured out. We'll see if it works or not. I've got a smaller leaf here, so we might kind of come in here. I want to be careful of my edge. I definitely need something up here. So let's try another one of these leaves. I'm kind of liking that. So you can see how it's starting to take shape. Hi, Lori. How are you? It's nice to see you here. So you can see how it's kind of starting to take shape. And then maybe I could do, again, I cut some of the stems off of the little buds, but maybe I could do like a little bud here, or, you know, something like that. But I think I've got, I don't know, what do we think? I think this is looking like a pretty good floral arrangement in a basket. I think I like that. Okay. So at this point, if you're doing this and you're about to glue these down, I would suggest taking a picture of it and on your phone and having it for reference as you lay things down. You can kind of tell, you know, how they're going to go down. Okay. So I'm going to start to remove things again and hope that I get it right. We'll just piece it back together as we go. I've got a leaf here. I've got another thing here, and we may change it up as we go. So it looks like this first one that I want to glue down is this one here. Okay. Now, for the glue, what I'm using is a matte medium. This is just a soft gel matte medium. And what I did was I mixed it with water because it's basically almost at the end. And the other thing about mixing the gel medium with a little bit of water is that it gives you the ability to manipulate it a little bit better. Okay. So I'm going to get another brush, and we're going to, I hope this works, you guys. I don't know. I was really kind of like wondering, what the heck am I going to do? And I don't want to go quite all to the edges yet, because I'm going to be tucking things under this. But by adding a little bit of water to this, it's not as thick, and it allows you to, you know, just spread it a lot more easily. So I do know that. So I recommend that, because otherwise the gel is super thick. All right, so I'm not going down, again, I'm not pressing down on all of my edges yet, because I'm going to be tucking some things in. And then I'll just kind of go around, and it'll be a little annoying because I'll have to go in and, you know, kind of push things down. But I'm going to push this down as best as I can, and we're going to get these 3 big ones in place. So let me lay these out again. And thank you for your patience with this, because this is kind of more the tedious part of this. But I think we're going to kind of go like this. So let's do this one next. Okay. And I'm going to kind of have it coming out like this. Okay. So if this weren't so textured, I could have used the masks and just placed it on my textured surface. And you can certainly do that. You don't have to stamp on watercolor and on watercolor paper and fussy cut like I am. I just thought, I was really a little bit concerned about the texture. But if you decided to stamp directly onto your board, then what you would do is then paint a layer of gesso over your stamped images, probably white, and then restamp again so that you can then watercolor. But I thought this would actually, even with all the fussy cutting, I thought this was maybe a little bit easier to do. So you can see it's lifting up here, but that's okay. We're going to get everything in place, and then we're going to glue everything down. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting some, and I might have a little wiggle room. I don't know. We'll see. I may have to totally redo my arrangement, but let's see. So I kind of want this one to go here. I think this is why that picture would have been really good. So let's hope the arrangement is as pleasing as I thought it was when we were practicing. Okay. All right. So we've got to start, right? And now I know that we were using some of these leaves under here, and so, or under here. So I'll probably come just like that, and we'll go ahead and get that one down. He's going to be on the very bottom, so I am going to go all the way to the edge. The ones that are getting tucked under, if nothing has to slide underneath them, you can take your glue and go all the way to the edge of your cutout and then be able to glue that down pretty easily. Okay, so let's go ahead and tuck him in. He'll kind of go over and kind of come under. I want him to go a little bit more like that, so he's not all the way to the edge, okay? And if we have to, we can use, you know, a little glue, a little more glue. All right, so we've got that one in. I think he could have come out a little bit further. Do I have any time to do that? Let's see, he could have come out just a little bit further. Yeah, I like that. So I might have to, I don't know, like I said, I really, you know, I use this for decoupage, but I haven't done a lot of glue with this, using it as a glue. So I'm going to get this down because I'm not tucking anything under there. I'm going to get that down. Okay, there we go. But I left this side open so we could add a little something. So we have the leaves over here, and then I could add another leaf kind of, no, that's kind of big. I can kind of come here. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and add this. We'll tuck this one under there and glue this. Okay. Hello, Nancy. Hi, Royce. How are you? Okay. So I'm just getting my gel medium on here and doing this. Okay, and then we're going to tuck him under here and position him, I think, where we want him. I like that. And again, since this one isn't getting anything tucked underneath it, I can go ahead and glue him completely down. Okay. Now we have, I need a little something up here. I don't know. Do I want a little bud there? That seems a little small. I could do, but I do want a different peony as well. I don't want it to just be the, I could have that kind of coming down. That doesn't look quite right. Could kind of come up here. I'm trying to remember what we did. That's why that picture would be super helpful. I think I'm going to come up here with just a different one right up here. So we'll go ahead and get him in there. Okay, and now the nice thing is that the watercolor paper is all ready to receive the paint. Okay, so I'm going to push that down really well. And hopefully, and then we'll go in and fill. So now we need let's see, we could do a leaf. That's kind of nice. I like that. I wish I would have taken the picture and printed it out. Would have been so much easier. Okay, so now we're going to kind of come up under here and do this leaf right in here. This would be a lot more if we were doing the masking, you know, then you're really trying to figure it out. So let's see if we need, I have one of these here. So one is great. It's an odd number. I like that. But let's see, I feel like we need just a tiny, tiny something here, like maybe another leaf. I don't know. Let's go on this side and see what we can do. That's not quite right. I've got several styles of leaves, but the ones I really love are this one here. And so I think I like that. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. Just good balance is all I'm looking for, and a full arrangement. And then I think we're almost done. I think we might add one or two more pieces, and then we'll go around and do our edges, and then we get to start the fun part, which is the watercolor. Okay. All right. I think I said I was going to come here, and I'm going to push him down just a little bit more. He's going to kind of go up all the way to the top, but I think that's okay. Okay, now we need something definitely here, and this is where I was thinking of that bud, but he kind of, I wonder if I can get him under just a little bit. Do we like that? I think I like that. All right, we'll do that. Let's just give it a whirl, okay, and get him in here. And then we'll just see if we need anything final, any final touches before we get started on the next step. Okay, so I'm going to lift him up a little bit and kind of get him so that he's kind of under and on top. Okay, and we'll go from there. I feel like it's a little off right here. Let's see if one little leaf would make a difference. Do we need another little leaf under here? No. I think just this one last leaf is what we're going to add, and then it'll just be a full basket. Okay, let's do just like that. Okay, and then I think we're going to call this good, except now that's bothering me a little bit. I could just do one little bud right here and then add one. This is the hard part. So you get going and then you're like, well, when do I stop? That's always the hardest part, because I don't know. I don't want to do too much, but I don't want to do not enough either. So I'm going to lift this up just a little bit and get that little bud right there and push him down. And then I think I want to repeat that bud. So do I want to go here? I can always add it. I don't know. Do I want to add that little bud right there? I don't know. Let's just go with this. I think it probably needs another bud. I could go right there. That kind of fills that out. All right, one more bud, and then I promise we're done. Okay? Then I promise we'll get to the next step. This is so hard. This is hard to do. Okay. It's hard to know when to stop. Okay, so I'm just going to add that little bud here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do for the sake of us all is I am going to put these out of reach so that I don't add any more, because we need to stop. Okay, so we're going to stop. with that, and I'll just put these all aside, off to the side. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and seal down the rest of my pieces, the ones that we didn't have completely down. So I'm going to go around and see where I have lift, and I'm just adding underneath. Okay, and so this leaf was coming up just a little bit, so I'm going to bring that up. You see I've got some here. Get that down. Okay, and then I'll turn it this way, and this will give you a nicer view of the, I think it's a little wonky over here, but I think it's going to be okay. Thank you so much, Royce. So let's do this. We're just gluing down all of the raised lifted areas. Again, I really, if you know of a better way to glue down water paper, you know, that's layered like this, please, please, please share it with me. I just really wasn't sure what the best way to go was. So I just thought we'll try it and we'll learn as we go. Got some here. Okay, pushing that down. And then let me feel, I've got just a little bit here. Push down here. Okay, if there's anything else that's like lifting or I need a little bit more, I'm going to find that out as I go, and I will be able to come back. I can always, you know, do a little glue later. So that's not a problem. Okay, so now we have our arrangement. And thank you, Royce. I thought it was, I mixed mine with a little bit of water just to make it easier to manipulate because it can get so heavy. But now we have our bouquet in our basket, and it's time, we're gonna just do some watercolors. So this is gonna take a while, and my feelings will not be hurt. If you need to leave, you can again come back and watch the rest of the video later. But I am going to be working with, I just have this, I've got several colors. I have really nice watercolors. And then I have some that, this is a set I've been working out of for a long time. I'll post the name of it and everything in the description. You can see I use it a lot. This is still usable. But if I don't want to use this, I can take an alcohol wipe or a baby wipe and just kind of clean off this area here. I also, to my right, have a pad of palette paper, and that is great for mixing color. And then when you're done with it, you can throw it away. So I don't have like little, you know, doodads, but I'm just going to kind of rearrange my space a little bit, and we're going to get started. I've got my watercolor brushes, my salt wash. I just have to do a little shuffling here. So my colors are going to be off to the side, and I have some other colors here that I might pull out. I've got my watercolor bucket here. Like I've got some really pretty reds. These are the really nice watercolors. These are by Daniel Smith. And I've got a really pretty palette that we received at a retailer's retreat for Roycycled Treasures. So I'm going to pull that out because it's got some beautiful kind of rose shades. And we're going to go from there. So I've got watercolor brushes, and here's another thing. I'm just going to start because I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I'm just going to start somewhere. So I think I'm going to start over here with a little bit. And I usually, you know, I'm not a watercolor artist. If you are interested in learning about watercoloring and getting started, I recommend Lexi Grenzer. She is a brilliant teacher and watercolor artist. I'm going to get a little more water in there. I'm just going to start. I'm going to go a little heavier in places, and then I can mix, and I am just going to get started. But it's Lexi Grenzer Art, and she does a lot of great watercolor projects and classes online. And you can just, she does a lot of book studies. So you could just go to her website, Lexi Grenzer Art, and choose something that looks interesting to you and start to learn. So I'm just kind of coming in here with some pinks, and I'm really going to load up with my brush with some color and kind of spread that out a little bit. And I'll be mixing other colors in here as well, but I'm just getting started. So I love the peonies because when I was growing up, I was lucky enough. I lived next door to my grandmother, and she always had peonies in her backyard. So they were in like this huge row in her backyard of peonies, and they were just beautiful. And to this day, peonies and tulips are my favorite flowers. And I'll be adding other colors as we go, but we're going to go ahead and get one of these buds done, and it'll just kind of give me, I'm starting with the center because it just kind of gives me a point to work out from. And I'm really just kind of filling in with the same color, and then I'll add some other colors a little bit later. I'm not being, particularly, picky about it. I have more concentrated color in some areas, so I'll just add some water and kind of blend that out. The more water you add to your brush, the more translucent the color will be. And so you can, as long as it's wet, you can always kind of reactivate it and come in here. And now I think I want to take a little bit of white and just see if I can't blend that out just even a little bit more, just kind of soften it. And I don't want it to be solid color. This is where I get really quiet, so I'm going to see how we're doing here. Okay, so I'm just starting there. I think I'm even going to add just, I don't remember peonies having a lot of yellow in them, but this is my project and I can do what I want, right? So I'm just going to kind of just bring in a little bit of yellow, which will create a little bit of orange. With that, and we just start to layer color and have a lot of fun with it. All right, so next I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to try to, it gets a little hard with all of the black lines to see, where one flower starts and where it ends, but we're going to do a soft, let's do a soft pink for that bud. So I'm going to do that by putting some of the rose color in my pan, and I'm going to add quite a bit of white to that, and we're just going to make a super soft pink. Add some more water to my brush, and we're going to come in here and I'm going to start there and then just get a lot more water on my brush and spread it out. And we can go from there. Again, it looks pretty flat with just one color, so we're going to add some more color to this. I'll add a little bit of a darker color, just kind of some little brush strokes. And again, I'm just having fun. And this is another part of the project that's always hard to know exactly when to stop, but we just keep going. So I'm going to come in here. It's just such a relaxing, it's just relaxing. I just really enjoy this. I'm going to add some more yellow again, just kind of in the, again, I don't remember the peonies having yellow, but I like the look of the color in here. And so it just adds a little dimension to those flowers. I'm not seeing, Susan, thank you. If I didn't see you, I'm not seeing any questions. So I will just keep going, and you can stay with me as long as you like, or or you can leave, or you can watch on replay. The whole thing will be done. Let's work on one of the leaves since we haven't done that and we're getting down here. Let's work on one of the leaves. I have a beautiful green color here, and I'm going to just get some water in that and clean that off. And then we will, let's see, what else have I got? I've got, I don't know, let's do a little white over here too. Lighten it up a little bit. Let's do, I want to be careful because this is the, you know, we've got our green basket. So I don't want to be too similar in color. I want you to be able to see it. And again, I just like to start laying down some color on my leaves. And then I add as I go. And I just mix them. You could use watercolor crayons. You could use watercolor pencils if that's easier for you. I sometimes will use both. Okay, and I've got this coming down in here. And so now I'm just going to add another shade of green. Let's see what this one is. This is a little more of a yellow green or an olivey green. And I'm just mixing those colors as I go. And I work in small sections just because that way it doesn't dry on me too much. Just kind of filling in. I'm not too careful about it. So I like that yellow green. Gives a little contrast to this. Okay. And then I'm even going to pick up another, is this a green? This is like a darker one. That's definitely a darker one, but I can mix it with a little, and let's see if we, I don't know, let's kind of come over here and see if that's going to be too close to our, it's going to be very close to our basket. So I'm going to pick up more of that yellow olivey green. And just lay down some color, and then I'll use my water to move it around. Move that around. I just want to get the white spaces from my watercolor paper. Okay, and so we've got a leaf too. All right, and then let's do, let's see, let's maybe start over here. I want to do something a little bit different. So we might make this peony more of the rosy color, a little bit darker than the others. Let's see. And then let's add some of a deeper red to that. I could introduce some purples too, but I'm going to mix this. This is like a really bright red over here. So let's kind of come in the center of this. I've got a lot of water, just kind of flooded that there. And then a little less water here. And a little less water here. Okay. And so we'll just do a couple more petals, and then I will finish it, and I will share the entire process with you in the full video tutorial. I'll link that to the YouTube video so that you can watch if you'd like to. Okay, I'm going to add maybe a little of this red here. Just bring in some of that color. This is dried. So you can tell I get super, super quiet. So with this, but I just wanted to, this is the start of it. And like I said, I'm going to keep painting, and I will be happy to share it with you, and I'll post the full tutorial in the next day or two. And thank you so much. I'll just check one more time. I don't see any questions. Thank you so, so much for joining me for another week, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. And anyway, happy creating, everybody. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.